Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Mr. Wiz here. We got another great lesson for you all. So we're actually getting near the end of the course. Congratulations if you've gone through this whole process. So with the lesson today, and I may end up breaking this into two lessons or two videos, we're going to be talking about arrays. So arrays is a completely new concept for us that we haven't discussed yet. But this is a great way to really step up your games to the next level. So we're going to get started in just a moment. As always, make sure you're signed in. You see your little picture or initials in that top right corner. So for today, I want to go back to an old program we haven't worked with in a while. So in the My Projects section are all my projects that we've worked on. To see them all, I'm going to click on this button that says View All. And I'm looking for the Asteroid program that we made a while back. There it is, Asteroids. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. So if you recall, in this program, we made a simple program where there were asteroids coming across a screen, and the player moves up and down to avoid them, and he can also shoot at them to get points. And the game does get harder as it goes because we added logic to make the game get more challenging as you play. So here you can tell the asteroids are moving a little bit faster than they were before. So here's what I want to do. Right now in this game, I want you to notice that all the asteroids look exactly the same, which is fine for a beginner level game, but we're at the point now where we want our games to look more professional, right? So wouldn't it make more sense if we had a variety of asteroids, different shapes, different sizes, all that jazz? So we're going to do that today using arrays. All right. So in the left-hand side here, in the toolbox, if you scroll down to the advanced section, where we have functions and some of the other stuff we've used, there's the array section right here. So let's talk about what arrays are. Arrays are essentially a way to organize information, to organize data that you can use later. I like to think of arrays as similar to a box or a file cabinet. Maybe, have you ever had maybe in school, you had a folder where you had like bookmarks in it to mark different things like notes? Maybe not. That's definitely something I did in college. You may have not done that yet, depending on what grade you're in, right? But an array is essentially a way to organize data that you can then access later on. And so what we would do is we would put the stuff in the array, and then we would access it when we need to use it. So it's a way to store things. It's a way to store data in an organized manner, okay? Hopefully that made sense to you. So in the array section here, I want you to notice there are two different types of arrays. There's the one that just says set list to array, and there's the one that says set text list to array. And I want you to notice those quotation marks there. In MakeCode Arcade, whenever you see quotation marks, that is referring to text, to words and letters, right? So this first array you can use for just about anything. It can be an array of numbers, it can be an array of sprites, it could be an array of animations, almost anything you can put in there as the array. Now, normally they would all be the same type of thing, right? So you could do an array of pictures, you could do an array of whatever the case may be, but they'll all be usually the same type of object, if that makes sense. The text array will only work with text. That's all it will work for. You can't put sprites in here. You can't put other things in here, right? So that's the best way to keep that organized. Or just remember, you have the regular array, which will work for just about anything. And then you have the text array, which just works for words and text. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to create an array that has different pictures of asteroids. So I'm going to use the first one because we're going to be using it for images. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this first one. I'm going to put it in my onStart. And, oh, my stuff's getting a little bit disorganized here. Let's just go ahead and format it to make it a little bit neater. So I'm going to right-click in this empty space. I'm going to click Format Code. And that just organizes my code out so it's a little bit neater. And that will keep it from getting too clustered. Okay, so I've got my array here. Now, I can rename it if I want to. Since I'm only using one array in this program, it's not really a big deal if I don't name it. But I can. I'm just going to leave it unnamed, though, since I'm only using one. So we'll just leave it as called list. All right, so now in the array of section, I need to start putting my images in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down in the advanced section. There's an area that just says images. I can click on that. And there's some different things here with pictures that you can edit and stuff. But what I want to do is I want to go down and just grab a blank image, the one that says create. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to put it inside of my bubble there. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it and make another one. Oh, there it is. I'm going to put this one inside the other one. Now, here's the cool thing. Once I've got my first two bubbles with an image block, I can click the plus sign. And what it does is it automatically puts in image blocks for the next ones. So I can keep on clicking plus, and it's going to create these image blocks for me because it knows now, since I already put the first two as images, that this is going to be an array of images, right? So the computer kind of helps me there. So now I've got a bunch of blank ones. I need to go ahead and start putting some asteroid pictures in here. So if I click on it, just to make it easier, I'm just going to go to the gallery. But of course, you can always create your own. So in the gallery, there are a lot of these rock images here. So I'm going to go ahead and just start grabbing some of them. Now, how many you decide to use is completely up to you. But the more you use, the better your program is going to look. So I'm going to have some big ones. I'm going to have some small ones. I'm going to go with some different shapes. This one's kind of Y-shaped. That's kind of cool. We'll do one of those. And I'm just going to grab a bunch of these. Grab that one. Now keep in mind you can also edit these, right? So for instance, maybe instead of going to the gallery, I want to grab one of the ones I'm already using, like this one. And maybe I just want to use the rotate tool and rotate it. Now it looks like a different image, right? And I could do that with some of the other ones too. I could even flip them maybe. So I could grab this one that's kind of Y-shaped. I could flip it horizontal. And now I've got a whole new image, right? So what I want you to do is just go ahead and create multiple asteroid images. Like I said, there's no limit to how many you can do. Let's do another small one. I don't want to have just one small one. Let's do a couple small ones and some couple big ones. So really, really mix it up. Okay, that's enough for me for now, but feel free to make this even bigger if you want to. You can do, like I said, as many as you want. You can even create some of your own if you want to, okay? Maybe you would want to get unique with it, and you're going to have a bunch of asteroids, but maybe one of them isn't an asteroid. Maybe one of them you want to be some space debris or something like that. You could do that if you wanted to, right? Maybe just for fun you want to throw an alien in there. You could do that if you wanted to. So we're creating an array, and we're making it as big as we want. I'm going to stop right here just for the sake of time, but I could keep going if I want to. I could make this twice as big, 3 times as big. I could spend a lot of time on this array just putting pictures in there if I wanted to. So right now in my game, nothing's changed yet. I want you to notice that. Right now in my game, they're all still the same picture, right? Not bad for a beginner game, but we could definitely do better now that we have more professional skills. So how do I change these pictures so that it's using the ones from the array? So what I'm going to do now is I need you to look for the part of your code that actually creates the asteroids. For me, it's this part right here where it says on-game update every 1,000 milliseconds. And it's creating the projectile and it's using that picture. So to use the pictures from my array, I need to replace this image so it pulls an image from the array. So in the array section, underneath where you create the arrays, you've got these read blocks here. And this is what pulls stuff from the arrays. And there's a lot of different ones here. So this one represents how big the array is. This one says get value at. So if I wanted to pull a specific image, I could give it a number here and it would grab that image. Just so you know, the way the coding works, arrays count starting with 0. So if I wanted to know what these images were, the first one would be image 0, and this would be image 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I used the one that says get value at 0, it would grab the first one. And if I put get value at 1, it would grab the second one. Make sense? So it counts starting with 0. Okay, so that's an option. If I wanted to grab a particular picture, I could use that. Get and remove is kind of cool. So let's say you only wanted it to use each array item once. You could have it get an image and remove it. So it's no longer in the array anymore. So you can also do that here where it has get and remove last item or get and remove first item, right? So you can get and remove the last or the first in your array. So that's kind of cool. But this is the one we're going to use today. The get random. I love randomness. Randomness makes games feel so much more unique and fun. So we're going to grab the get random value. And we're going to put it where the asteroid picture is in the projectile. So instead of using that picture, whenever it creates a projectile, it will grab one, random one, from our array, which is currently just called list, because we didn't rename it. So now in your game, you're going to notice immediately in your game, you now have different asteroids. Pretty cool, right? Look at that. That looks great. That looks really great. It's got a lot of variety now. You got different shapes and sizes, and your game suddenly looks a lot more professional. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. All right. Now keep in mind, as I said, though, we could stop here, but I just want to talk for another minute. Arrays don't have to be pictures. What if you wanted the asteroids to spin and rotate? What if you wanted to give them animation? Could you have an array of animations? Absolutely you could. Absolutely you could. You would just change the way you do it, right? So we would go to animations, and we would replace all these pictures with this animation block. And then we would just have to create the animations for them. Here, I'm going to use less just to save time on this video. We'll only do 4 for now. But just as an example, I could go into the gallery. I can grab some. Are there asteroid animations in the gallery? There aren't, but I can make some real quick here. So let me grab this rock here. And to make my animation, I'm just going to duplicate it. And I'm going to rotate this one. And then I'm going to duplicate that and rotate it. And I'll do this 4 times. So it rotates all the way around in a circle. And now my animation looks like that. Pretty fast. Let's slow it down if we can. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so now I've got an animation, right? And then all I would have to do is in here, where I'm creating my asteroid, I'll set it back to the picture. And instead, I'll put that in there and replace the animation with my get random value, right? Set the number to 200, turn loop on. There we go. And now all I got to do is make more animations, and I'll do the same thing as before. I can have multiple asteroids. I'm going to try to do this quickly because I don't want to waste y'all's time in the video, but you get the idea. I'm grabbing some different asteroids. We'll do a small one here. And then I put 4, so let me grab one more. Which ones have I done so far? I did a regular one. I did that one. I did that one. Okay. Let's do the Y-shaped one. Duplicate. I wasn't paying close enough attention. I don't know if I have these all rotating the same direction. If I don't, I probably should. Just to keep the game, make more sense. But there we go. Now I've got a game with multiple asteroids that are also animations. So for my array, I could just do an array of images. I could do an array of animations. I can do it all sorts of different ways, right? And I just did 4 here. I could do a lot more. But that's the basic idea. So an array allows us to organize data that we can then use later. In this case, the data that we have organized right now is animations. The data that we had organized earlier was just images. And I was able to pull from that data when I needed to use it. Okay, before I let you go, let's just real quick look at an example of using a similar array, but without randomness. What if I actually wanted to use the order involved? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to real quickly look for the Space Invader game. There we go. that I had started to create back when we were learning about loops. So remember how we put our ducks in a row here? So back in the original Space Invaders, they had a bunch of aliens, right? But they were different ships. Now, it wasn't random. If it was random, it would have been all mixed up. Instead, what they would do is they would have different ships in each row. And that created a pretty cool order, right? So I can do that with arrays as well. Let's just do this real quickly. So I'm not wasting too much of y'all's time. I'm going to create an array. And we're going to use images like we did before. And I only want 4 because I want 4 different spaceships, 1 for each row, right? Okay, now I don't think they actually have any spaceships in the gallery, so I'm just going to draw something real quick here, and we'll make them different colors. Now, of course, you can get more artistic with you. Oh, that's not very good. Let's undo that. You can get more artistic on your own. I'm just going to make like little UFO type ships. Try to get kind of oval shaped. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But oh well. No, I don't love that at all. All right, let me try to clean this up a little bit. I'll get rid of that part. I'm going to use the selection tool, make my life a little bit easier. I actually like this side. I want the other side to look the same. So I'm going to use Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste, and I'm going to flip it like that. Boom. That's almost perfect. Let's erase this little one right there. There we go. All right, so I've got a red UFO here for the first one, and we're just going to do some different colors. So in the gallery, let's go to My Assets, and I'm just going to grab it and do different colors. So we'll do one that's red, one that's green. Are these the same size as the duck? So these are 16 by 16. How big was the duck? I should probably check that. How big was the duck? The duck was 16 by 16. Okay, so this won't mess up the math at all. Just checking. All right, so we got one green, one red. We'll do one that is blue. And then we will do one that is purple. All right. So I've got my 4 rows of UFOs. Like I said, not very fancy because I'm just making this video quickly. And what I want to do is I want there to be a different ship on each row, right? So that's the game that I'm building here. I'm replacing those ducks with the ships. So in my code, down here is where it created them, right? So I've got 7 rows of ducks, and then I have 4 rows, and then I have 7 ducks in each row, and I have 4 rows. So this is what's happening here. So what I want to do is I want it to grab a specific image in my array. I want it to get the value at, well, the first time I want to get the value at 0. But then the next time I want to get the value at 1, the next time I want to get the value at 2, and the next time I want to get the value at 3. Because remember, they count 0, 1, 2, 3. Which means that this number is going to change, which means I need a new variable, right? So let's create a new variable to keep track of the ship number. All right. I'm going to put ship number in there where it says get value. I know I'm moving kind of fast because we have done variables before. All right, so at the beginning of the game, ship value will be set to 0. That's fine. But then after it finishes this first row, and it does the new position and does all this stuff, I need it to change ship number by 1. So now in the second row, ship value should be 1. Third row, ship value should be 2. The last row, ship value should be 4. And look, it's already updated. Haha. It works. So this is a way to use arrays without randomness. You can actually be a little bit more organized with it. And so now I've got, oh yeah, I forgot. I never created the overlap code for this, did I? Maybe you guys did in your versions. But yeah, so I was able to use arrays and I didn't use randomness. You don't have to use randomness with arrays. You can be organized with it by keeping track of the value number. So just want to show you this before I left you guys at the end of this video. If you learned something new today, make sure you hit that like button. If you have not already subscribed, please subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends and family about this channel so that they can learn how to build fun games too. If you made something cool with arrays today and you want to show it off, make sure you hit that share button right up here so you can copy the link and post it in the comments. Next video, we'll be building NPCs, and we're going to be using that text feature for arrays so that they will give random dialogue when we interact with them. So we're going to be creating random characters with random dialogue to put in our tile map games. It's a lot of fun. I'll see you next time.